Hey world, welcome to the Sherese Nicole podcast. I created this space where I'll discuss life lessons, personal stories, observations, unsolicited advice, and ramblings that go on in my chattering mind. Every so often, I will pull in guests to provide different perspectives and discuss a range of topics from nutrition to travel and all things in between. So without further ado, let's get into it. In this episode, I'm joined by Osato, a self-taught photographer from Toronto. We discuss all things such as her journey to becoming an entrepreneur, how she's grown her brand, and even opened up her own home studio, HAUSOFO. Hope you enjoy it.
Hey guys, my name is Osato and I am a photographer. And a lot of the work I do is in African fashion photography, which is really cool. But I also love to take part in like once in a lifetime moments like weddings or engagements and maternity stuff I've been doing a lot of lately. So that's most of what I do. And I've recently started doing some content production via my company, HAUSOFO, which is a platform for creative and intentional content. Driven by visions of women of color. So, and any kind of media platform like podcasting, but we're going to be doing a lot of video production first. And a few other things that, I'll reveal. But yeah, that's who I am.
Can we talk about the Boona Project?
Sure.
Yeah, so you also launched the Boona Project, which I was a part of.
Yeah.
So it's like women of color sharing their healing stories, their healing journeys.
Yeah, exactly. So the Boona Project is something that's very special to me. I started it in 2018, or rather I introduced it as a podcast show in 2018. And at the time, I just really had this desire to connect with other women, women that were like me, women who I may not have known personally, but whose stories I was like inspired by and just curious of. And at that time, I think I was really looking for like a sense of self, like having a better understanding of my experience and like my whys or whatever. And in my mind, I thought, let me lean on to the stories of other women that look like me. So it was a short-lived show just because life, but recently I reintroduced it as a video portrait series, which you were a part of.
I was a part of it. It was so nerve-wracking. But
No, but I'm so grateful. And so, the intention is just to highlight your stories and, relating to self-love and health and with the purpose of like inspiring other people, because I feel that in some way we all are connected. And storytelling is just a beautiful way of like highlighting that and just making it, real that, I am like you. So, the Boona Project every Wednesday, 6 p.m.
It was a great experience. When you first told me about it, I jumped on it because I was like, you know what, I just want to be more vulnerable myself. And like, this podcast is one of the ways in which I'm doing it this year, but like to be on video and to see, me kind of squirm around in the seat and everything, like I really was feeling the fear and doing it anyways. And, gave me that opportunity to give my voice a platform and to really extend my reach with like other women who may need to know things that they didn't know that I've experienced. So that was really great. Thank you for having me on, of course.
Thank you for sharing your story. Yeah.
And so, I consider you to be like pretty successful. Like you live in a loft, you have your own business, your own company, you have all these clients and you're doing big things. Like, how did you get here to this point in your life? Like, what do you think? Do you think that you're, up there?
No, definitely not, but I appreciate it. That was so nice. No, I don't really see myself that way, but I'm also at a point where I'm trying to actively change my perspective because I am grateful for all of those things that you mentioned, that I get to work for myself and I get to literally dream things and make them real, you know, and without having to answer to anybody else, and also like build my own legacy, you know. So how I got into photography, we can start there. So I initially started my business in 2016, and at the time it was a web design and marketing business, because that's what I went to school for. That's what I did. And that's what my passion was at the time. So by way of Instagram, I actually came across this opportunity. It was a remote work opportunity for a company based in Atlanta. And I was at the time doing like newsletter designs and just like marketing related stuff. So over time, I would say within, I want to say like 4 months, my role within the company kind of grew, because there was a lot of excitement around it. So that was when African fashion was becoming, you know, a bit more popular on this side of the world. And it was a platform that held vendors from all over the world that sold African fashion. So I thought that was really cool. That was my first experience of being part of something that was ran by majority women, like 99.9% women, and women of color, and women that were African. It gave me an opportunity to connect more to, you know, my roots. So yeah, within a few months, my role quickly grew into me becoming the e-commerce and marketing manager. So aside from like managing marketing and their web platform, I had the opportunity to travel throughout the U.S. doing pop-up shops, which was one of the dopest experiences, because what I just described was now like in person. Like you walk in a room and there's just boss-ass women that look like you, and that's a feeling that, you know, words can't really explain. So on one of these trips, I picked up a camera because I was like, you know what, this is a really cool experience right now. Like I want to be able to capture these. And I believe it was in Atlanta at a pop-up shop. I took a few pictures and I was like, oh, like I'm kind of ill with it, you know? So, in all honesty, from 2016 to like mid 2018, I saw myself as a hobbyist, even though my, photography grew, like my following, quote unquote, grew. And like I was getting more opportunities. I started getting some paid opportunities, which was, this whole time I was just happy to be capturing beautiful Black women. Like that was my driving force. I was like, and it made me feel, again, like can't really explain, but it was amazing to me that I could create something that other people could connect to, and that they were able to see the beauty that I see in like us. So yeah, it was just like a super cool thing. And then as I was getting more paid opportunities, I realized, you know what, like entrepreneurship, that was just the plan from the get, but let me really invest myself into this. So I did that. I started, I had a job, like a full-time job. And then I decided to quit. So yeah, taking us back to 2016, decided to quit, moved to Atlanta. I was there for about a year working for this company, came back, and I was like, now what? And then I was like, you know what? Let me build on this business. Because I was able to, because I already knew the network of African fashion designers that were local, that gave me a starting point. So a lot of my growth has honestly been by the support of other small businesses and other female entrepreneurs that really lifted me. And so, I would get more opportunities. And then by way of one of those opportunities, one of my photos was featured in British Vogue, which was like so dope. And so that happened, and then that same year I was nominated for the African Fashion Award. And so like those two moments, but other little moments too, acted as like validation that like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And so that pushed me to like just continue like finding clients and stuff like that. So bringing us more recent to last December is when I finally got my home studio, which is something that I was talking about for a couple of years, but without like real action. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna have my own studio.
Yeah.
And so, having this space has really, again, another point of validation that I'm, where I'm supposed to be. So that's how we got here.
All right, that sounds like quite the journey, but it's like, it's like what would have happened if you never picked up the camera and like had that curiosity? That's like a lot of growth. And
thank you.
This year has been crazy for everyone. 2020 has like just taken everyone off guard. How did that affect you, and how were you able to, I guess, maintain your business? Like, did you experience difficulty?
Yeah.
How did you overcome it? I know personally that for you it was a great time, but like, how did you?
What?
No, like afterwards that it like
Yeah.
unfolded a lot for you, but like in that moment when you were dealing with it, how did you
sort myself out?
Yeah.
So no, it definitely. I would look back on it, and not even look back because we're still going through it. But I would say the theme of the last few months is overcome, like just overcoming, because when everything first hit, when COVID first hit, I immediately went into a state of panic, I'll be honest, because I just moved here. I just moved into my my studio. I had all these grand plans, which most of us did, because 2020, like, look at it, the start of a new decade, like, we were going to kill
vision.
it. Yeah. 2020 vision, exactly. Yeah. So I immediately was like, fuck, like, what am I going to do? Especially because a lot of my clients, or the majority of my clients, are small businesses as well. So I'm like, I was already thinking like, they're going to be affected. So that means I'm affected. And then the physical distancing. And I was like, what? And so I'll be honest, it took me like a good 5 to 6 weeks of me feeling sorry for myself and sitting in my feelings, even though that's not what I wanted, but that's just what happened. And then, I don't know, by probably encouragement of my mom and like other like amazing friends or whatever, I chose to pick up a different perspective. I think that's another thing I'm learning. It's like, you can definitely choose how you look at life and how you look at your situation. And so I was like, okay, well, this is what it is, and these are my goals. My goals don't have to change because this is what we're going through now, right? So I started now focusing on my goals, one of them being finally releasing the Buna Project, because I had recorded an episode just a week just before everything hit. So that was one of them. I had some like financial things I wanted to like address and like growth for my business. So I started like focusing on that. And then I think because like I really do believe in energy, and I think because my mindset was starting to shift, I started receiving like certain messages. So for example, I happened upon this book called The Mind-Gut Connection that talks about the relationship between, I know you were just talking about this right now, but talks about the relationship between your mind and gut, but from a perspective that delves into emotion and how like what we eat can affect how we feel. And so for what a lot of people don't know is that for a lot of my life, I've been burdened with like anxiety and depression. And so when this happened, that also pushed me to think about the fact that I don't want to keep feeling like this. You know what I mean? So got that book, started reading, started filling myself with like using the time to fill myself with like good information. So hella documentaries. And so I got back on it. And then I would take clients here and there, but was still, careful with everything that was going on. Got back on building the Buna Project, and I don't know how, but I don't know, God really just supported me, especially in the month of May, and like just financially, like I made more than I've ever made in my business. And I can't tell you like this is what I did other than like change my mindset.
Powerful.
Like that's like the key thing. So, and then that encouraged me. And like, again, like I was saying to you earlier, what I'm learning too is that life is just like continuous growth. Like, it's a continuous learning experience. There's no final like destination. And even though I, went through that realization and that like uplift, like I'm going to have like moments that aren't going to feel great, but having the tools to know that like I have the power to
change your mindset anyways. That's been something that like I exercise, or I try to. I mean, right now, we spoke before, but I'm going through a very like downtime. And right now I feel like for me, my task today is to really look at the things that I'm grateful for.
Right.
And just focus on that, because there's a book I'm reading as well. And it says there that if you like look at things that you're grateful for, or focus on one thing for 17 seconds or something like that, you'll find more things to be grateful for.
Okay.
And it just compounds, and then before you know it, you have like 100 things, and then you have 200 things. And it's like, that's such a simple, like thinking about it, so simple to do, but in the moment when you feel down, it's like all you want to do is sulk. You want to just be the victim. So it really takes a lot of like energy almost sometimes to continuously be conscious of taking yourself out of that mindset.
Absolutely.
And looking at life from a different perspective.
I agree. It's a lot of work, you know what I mean? Like, no one tells you when you're a kid that like life is going to be work. They rather focus on like, these are your goals, like, graduate, get married, blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of in between that complements those achievements, but like are essential to our personal growth, which is like the foundation of how those other things turn out, So
you mentioned like you don't believe in like finite or milestones necessarily, and it's like that's also something that I'm trying to unlearn, because that's so grounded in us, like through high school or through school, through our family, through media, and it's like I'm where I'm supposed to be because I'm supposed to be here,
right?
And that's okay. And then it's like I can still strive for things, but they might look different for me,
right?
So it's like when I mentioned before, do you feel like I find that you're successful? Do you find that you're successful? And you're kind of just like what? I guess then what defines success to you?
Right. Great question. Like, what is my problem? And it's like, and I honestly have this conversation with myself. It's like, it's not that I'm not grateful. It's that in one of the books that I actually came across that same month, Magic May, we'll call it, they were talking about us being stuck on the idea of our ideal selves. And that really resonated with me. I think there's this idea of myself that looks a certain way, that walks a certain way, that has certain things and like certain skills. And in my mind, if I don't mirror that image, I'm not who I'm supposed to be, which is, as I'm saying it, that's some bullshit. Yeah, like it's actually, it's an illusion and it's not right. And I don't know that I've even really done the work to figure out why I've set myself up that way. But then I do have moments far and few between where I'm like, yo, I'm so grateful. Like, I have everything that I wanted and I'm doing. And yes, I have further goals and stuff, but like, I'm doing it, So, I'm working on that.
No, and like, that was kind of a trick question for you because like, what does success mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like success for me could be like, did I work on a piece of my content today? Did I edit a podcast today? Did I eat good today? Do I feel good about myself? Did I say an affirmation? That's a successful day. Right. It could be, right? So our definitions of it can change and vary, but like, who's to say what is success?
I agree. I think, as you say that, I was thinking to myself, I think the problem too is also not being present enough. So like looking too far into the future, I think is what honestly builds on that feeling of I'm not doing enough, or I haven't done this, I haven't done that, rather than taking the time to like be present,
Yeah. Again, something that's like hard to do, but have you read the book The Power of Now or heard of it?
I have heard of it. I haven't read it.
It's a heavy book, but he really, Eckhart Tolle, he like really grounds in you the power there is in the present moment, and that like either a lot of the way the human brain works is like it's either in the future, which is anxiety, or in the past, which could be depression or something else. And just like how being in that constant middle there is none of that. And then that is truly life. And that time is a concept.
I'll pick that up for real because
if you want to learn more about it.
I do want to learn more.
Before we were talking about just the way that I guess you want to be, not portray yourself, but the way you want to grow and elevate in your career, and you want to be fearless in it.
Right.
Can you talk about that and like in what you mean?
What I'm realizing, and I don't know that I even know why, but I think through example, you being one of them, I'm learning that like vulnerability is kind of like the key. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like on the other side of vulnerability lies my success. That's what I feel for myself. And I think that could be true to a lot of people. So what does that mean? You know, it means me asking you to come on my video portrait series and tell me of your story. Yep. But then when I ask myself, is that something I can do comfortably? No. And so I'm working on figuring out why that is, and like allowing myself to just be transparent about my journey, and not that, again, that final or that ideal self. Like, I don't need to be that person before I present my truth or my ideas, you know? So, I think honestly, continuous learning. I look to a lot of other creators and podcasters and in support of me just like changing my perspective.
It's continuous.
It is continuous. And I'll be honest, I can't tell you that I'm there. I'm working on it. And I know enough to know that it's important. Like, me being like showing my transformation or my journey is, I think, far more useful than me just being this perfect, you know,
seemingly perfect.
Yeah, seemingly perfect person. So we working on it.
Yeah, I mean, like that. Seeing other people be vulnerable with themselves inspired me to even get on this podcast. And like what some of the guests that I've had, they've been like, you know, seeing that you're doing your thing, like that's inspiring me. Like that lets me know. And I guess that's the same reason why you started the Boona Project, because like you were like vicariously being vulnerable within other people's vulnerability. But I agree with like your statement where on the other side of vulnerability is like power. Is that what you?
Yeah, power. I think I said lies my success.
Success. Yeah. I guess that's like how I look at things. But like a big driver behind why I decided this podcast was like vulnerability leads to power or success, but also curiosity. Like I was just like, what can happen when I put myself out there? Who is this going to resonate with? And then also it makes me think like the experiences that we go through in life, the gifts that you have, it's not for us to keep for ourselves. It's for us to share. And I remember you also mentioned that like during our conversations off the record, but like, like we have stuff to give, we have things to share. And it's like kind of our responsibility to do that. So yeah, when you take yourself out of the equation, I feel like it's easier to be vulnerable.
That's exactly it.
Still something to work with, because like I'm not 100% vulnerable, and I don't think that you should be if you're not comfortable with it, you know? But to an extent, it's like definitely someone needs to hear your story.
Absolutely.
Because you never know how giving that can be.
Yes. You sound just like that's what I tell people. But it's for me it's a matter of living the values I believe. You know, like these are things I know to be true and believe, but it's just the action that is like, that's where I'm struggling, to be honest. So
yeah, it's just you'll get there. It's not something like you wake up one day and you're there. It's like I think it's gradual changes.
Yeah,
that's what I think about it. Because like when I think about, for example, with me and let's say meditation. They say meditation can lead to like all of this increased insight and knowledge and creativity. It's like I don't really notice that each day. It's just something that like I'll pick up on or start doing, and it's like maybe this was traced back to my meditation. So, you know, it's gradual small changes, I think, is what you'll experience. So, being an entrepreneur, I know you have to manage and schedule your day on your own, and for like what comes with that is like you have to make sure that you take time for yourself. So again, you have to be aware of the times that you're not doing that. So how do you balance?
So yeah, that's another area of my life that's a work in progress, but balance is definitely, or what I've learned is that balance is definitely like necessary. And what I'm trying to practice is like literally scheduling rest. So recently I came across this podcaster, or content creator rather, his name is Hindsight, super dope guy, and he was talking about the fact that from Saturday night till Sunday night, he takes like a sabbatical almost, it's his time to be by himself, for himself. He connects with God, he fasts, and as he was talking about it, I just felt like there was something so beautiful in it. And it's something that I've experienced in the past where I'm like, I'm going to maintain a certain type of diet with the intention of being closer to myself and God. And so what I'm trying to do is literally schedule in every single week a day of rest. So for me, that's Sunday, where I do the same. I fast from food, social media, even my mama, like for the majority of the day.
That's important.
Yeah, and it's just time for myself, and to I think doing that, and I begin the day with meditation and prayer, and I think doing that is what drives me to be more present, and like we were talking about earlier, more grateful, and so doing that allows me to like refuel so that I'm able to be efficient in a way that I desire, and productive throughout the week. So doing that, and also setting boundaries between everything, but in this case, work life and personal life, because I'm an entrepreneur, because I work from home, literally, like, and it makes it hard to separate that time.
Yeah.
Because everything exists in the same space, or because I'm, my mind is excited about a certain project or photo shoot. And so just being strict in that, like, it's, again, like a lot of life is about choice, and just like choosing how to manage your day and manage your time is like important. Like, yes, I want to be young, wild, and free, but more than that, I want to be productive. I want to be impactful. I see myself, again, that ideal self is a really powerful woman. And so I feel a bit of responsibility to maintain like a certain rigidity, because like I need to be on point, so.
What's next in store for you?
What is next? The growth of the Boona Project. That's something that I'm really excited about. And there's just, a lot of content in this brain of mine that I can't wait to like make real. So that is what is now and next. That's what my focus is.
That's it. That's all it needs to be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being on my podcast, being on my baby. I'm excited to share your story. I'm happy that you also shared and you were vulnerable enough to come on here and talk to the experiences that you've gone through, because I know, again, they can resonate with people. So thank you.
Thank you.
And where can everyone keep in contact with you?
So you can follow me on the gram at Osato Erebor. The same name is for my website, but Instagram is really where you can like connect with me. It's where I post my content. Also at the Boona Project, if you are interested in these amazing women's stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that grow and see what comes.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you again for being on. This was fun. Yeah. And until next time.